Hey, Reminiscible here. So, I think religion might be inspired by powerlessness. So, like, what are some benefits of powerlessness? Uh, if you feel powerless, you're like, oh, my actions don't matter, and therefore you can self-justify anything, right? Um, if there's, you don't have to say like, oh, well, this other person is more cruel than me, therefore I can be as cruel as you want. That might seem a bit fallacious even to yourself. And so, but if you're like, oh, well, like, bad things will happen regardless of whether I stop doing bad things, then I think it's more of an incentive to do bad things, or more of a self-justification, because it doesn't, like, oh yes, bad things certainly will happen, and you can skirt the whole, like, cause and effect, and, like, taking responsibility for your own actions, and, like, moral responsibility, like, if I murder someone, then I'm the one to blame for their death and their pain during that death, right? So, but if you're like, well, people will get murdered anyways, then the murderer can say like, oh, well, if I murder someone, well, there's someone who has murdered more people than me, therefore it doesn't matter what I do. And then somehow there's this leap of I don't know, somehow they go from there to like, it's okay to murder people because nothing matters anymore. And so with religion, I think why people might favor the one deity thing instead of like panentheism or pantheons is because, no, not the League of Legends character. Pantheon is multiple deities, and panentheism is like deity equals universe. But of course, our universe doesn't exhibit any signs of intelligence or self-awareness, so anyways, not the known universe. So, we get this one deity, and I think if people like are like, oh, well, like there's one deity that like made everything, who happens to, well, we'll avoid, who happens to have made everything. Yeah, one of the dudes he made, even though he knows everything that's going to happen and is omnipotent, one of the dudes he made happens to have, I don't know, gotten in an argument with him, and therefore, not because of the guy who made everything, but because of the guy who was made by the guy who made everything and knows everything that's going to happen, we now have disease, rape, murder, predation. So, oh, let's blame Satan instead of God. But, circular logic aside, or what is an addendum to circular? What is a circular logic addendum to a circular logic? I call that a vicious regression, where you have circular logic. Oh, but if this self-contradiction, then other circular logic, where you have the premise based upon the premise, which doesn't prove anything except that you're an idiot. Yes, I'm talking to you, Dad, and all of those other religious people, specifically Christians, because I'm surrounded by Christians wherever I go on the internet. There's Christians! Yay! So, yeah, I'm thinking that one reason to believe in God might be that feeling of powerlessness that you can really draw from, like, oh, well, regardless of what I do, God is in control of everything, right? Therefore, I can be as cruel as I want because God, or no, because, what was it? Let's follow the same logic as the murderer example. So, God controls everything, therefore, my actions will not change, like, anything. That doesn't even make sense in the first place, because, like, if you murder someone, well, that's plus one person that got murdered, right? If you rape someone, that's one more person that got raped, right? But if you don't, if you're like, maybe I won't rape someone, then yes, it changes the outcome. There's one less person who got raped, and you're not the one to blame for it, so you aren't the one to feel guilty for it. But I guess if people don't want to feel guilty about raping people, then they're like, well, um, people who believe they are God aside, um, if you're raping people and you're like, well, God controls everything, therefore my actions like cannot change anything for the better. Somehow it's like go from there to like, well, Satan does more rape than me, therefore it's okay to rape people because nothing matters anymore. I don't know. I don't understand the logic. How did... I don't get it. It's like, how do religious people think? So they believe in God and Satan. God is good, therefore everything is fair, but Satan is bad. Wait. God is good, therefore nothing I do has any influence, but Satan is bad, and Satan is worse than me, therefore I can be as cruel as I want because there's someone more cruel than me? Like, what? So are you worshipping God or Satan, or is there even any difference if God created Satan? Um, see, the problem with understanding religious people is even if you genuinely understand it, it still sounds like a mockery of religion because it's just the fundamentalism is so fallacious that it just becomes a mockery of itself. So unless you like delve into an echo chamber of acceptance where everybody's like religious, well, even then the reverse happens where if you're completely religious, people will think you're mocking them. Religious people, like your friends, will think you're mocking them because, well, who could actually be that stupid and illogical and irrational? So, no, but this deserves further thought because there's gotta be something with, like, the allure of powerlessness and, like, nothing matters, therefore I can be as cruel as I want, right? Otherwise, how would you have, like, carnism? How would you have, like... How would you have, like, people being broken into slaves the same way you would, like, tame an animal by denying it food and, like, providing pain, you know? Like, how does the free will get broken? And how do people embrace their powerlessness as, like, a means of, I don't know, justifying actions? So maybe, like, because I know a lot of people join religious communities in order to, like, gain power or influence over their children, or even over their, like, over their spouse. So, how... like, how does the powerlessness come into effect? There's gotta be, like, some mental... There's gotta be some mental benefit to, like, believing that you have zero control over, like, the net of all suffering. Like, that's just... Do people not understand, like, addition, subtraction, fractions? Like, if you rape someone, someone was raped, right? If you don't rape them, someone was not raped, and the difference between the two is someone was raped. And that is bad, therefore you don't rape someone. Like, that's like... That's the mathematical, like... And then you're like, okay, how much suffering did they undergo as a result of that? Oh, this much? Okay, then that's how much guilt you're responsible for. That's how much guilt you should feel because that's your... That's, that's what you did. That's what you were directly to blame for. So, I don't know. It's... there's got to be some connection to, like, oh, Satan's worse than me, therefore I can be as bad as I want, because if God is omnipotent, then my actions have no effect on the net of all suffering. Like, is that a, like, is that a belief that people hold? It just sounds so idiotic. I don't know. Maybe, but there are a lot of idiots. I don't know. It's like, is anyone really that stupid?